Welcome to Life Workshop, where we discuss the forgotten basics. So the topic of this episode is starting with a question which is actually for your most favorite co-host, Bo.
Hello.
From your most favorite host, Mo. So the question for you is, does technology takes away jobs?
Yes and no. It creates different jobs.
Mm-hmm. But in the big
it does
picture.
take away. I think it does take away jobs. But at the same time, you can't not do things, say, advanced technologically, because you're afraid of losing jobs. They just have to be different jobs, and there's actually a lot here. I was listening to another podcast about this, and they were saying that you need a high IQ.
Are you kidding me? Listen to other podcasts?
Yeah, crazy.
It's like a backstabbing.
No.
I do too. I'm just kidding.
But they were saying that you need a high IQ society to be able to deal with a lot of automation and technology, and then, but how do you deal with that? And then how do you deal with people who like doing certain things? You don't want to take those things away. Like people who like to work with their hands or something are typically thought of as the ones who would lose those jobs for technology, which is true and false, right? Like factory workers, like maybe, but others maybe not, like tradespeople, not so much yet. So what do? You don't want people to lose their jobs, but you still want to advance technology. So I think you have to go all the way back, and you have to change the education system and how we do that, because you need people to be able to, I don't even want to say trained, because that's not quite right. You want people to be able to understand things better so that they can be trained in different things, as technology advances, even the jobs from before aren't going to be there.
Actually, you know what?
So then you have to be able to adapt, I guess, and people have to be able to do that. And then how do you find something that you really love to do? Say you found something you really love to do, and all of a sudden it's gone.
You know what? This is the thing. You just said this, and you remind me of this. Normally I say, never ever think about the consequences. Do the right thing. Because sometimes you think you may know some of the consequences. Of course, I said this, I have to elaborate on it sometime. You do the right thing without thinking about the consequences. The consequences, sometimes you know it, maybe you know it for one generation or two generations, but you don't know what's going to happen afterwards. So the fact is that when it comes to this topic, does technology work? Advances? For sure. Is it going to take jobs away? Yes, it does. In the big picture, it does. It creates few, but takes away a lot. Mm-hmm. But is it a bad thing or a good thing? Well, the answer we will see. And it's in a very simplistic way, we are going to look at it this way. So I should tell you this.
The answer that it's a good thing.
Correct.
I mean, that's opinion, right? I think it's a good thing.
No, it's not just a matter of opinion. I don't like opinions. My opinion is this. It's just facts that we know. For example, I had a client of mine who is coming from a third world country. And actually, we were talking about the self-driving vehicles, and that a lot of drivers, that doesn't matter, semi or the cab drivers, are going to be losing their jobs. And then she said, oh my God, technology is bad, takes away jobs. And no, she's right.
It's not bad.
No, but the bad part of it, I disagree. And then I said, look, let us look at it this way. I said, in Canada, do you agree in Canada, technologically, we are more advanced than your home country? She said, yes. I said, so you're in your home country, we have less of technology. She said, yes. I said, what is the unemployment rate in Canada versus your home country? And then she was kind of taken aback for a moment, because unemployment rate in Canada is a lot less than her home country. I said, when you look at the big picture, as a matter of fact, no. Unemployment in your home country is more, although technology is less. Now, how it happens, against the process of it, that's another story for another night. But the big picture is technology doesn't really take away job. And if it won't, I mean, it does, but it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And then when it does, in a country like Canada, for example, we go create a lot of jobs, which some of them are actually pretty needed. For example, in advancement of how we socially work together and be better versus and being able to respect each other's opinion and ideas and be more open to that versus some other countries. So a lot of effort is gone into some other things because we have machinery that does the job of 10 people and actually does it a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And doesn't complain, doesn't, shows up every day.
No, they just break.
But so the moral of the story is when you look at the big picture, and then again, what happens? And I brought this up. I said, so you're a kind of against self-driving vehicles, but what about a washing machine? Can we take your washing machine away? And then she was a kind of, again, taken aback. I said, that when washing machine was invented, a lot of people in housekeeping lost their jobs. So
sure, I would
what
imagine
if,
anyways,
so shall we go back? Because if you are going to use your own principle, maybe you should take the washing machine away and then we will create a lot of jobs. But the fact it becomes this, and it goes back to the thing that I have said before. We often are okay with the poor result of our habits, but question the better results of a change. So you don't want me to take your washing machine away, but you don't want us again to have a self-driving vehicle. You just want to be right here. Past was bad, future is bad, right now is just perfect.
Well, I got a question here then, and we're going to stay with the self-driving vehicle thing because it's like it's real, right? And we can see it and understand it. So I like to drive. I enjoy it. I like doing it. So I'm not so keen on the self-driving vehicle, and it's not to do with about technology at all. Like I don't think technology is bad or whatever, right? And say you talked about truckers losing their jobs. Well, truck driving and stuff is a job that people can get that pays well, and you don't need a whole ton of education to be doing it, right? And a lot of people like that, just to be out on the open road. They didn't have to go through a bunch of school, because school is really hard for a lot of people. The way it's set up, that's getting back to educational system that has to get.
I'm sure if you would ask the guy who was washing the clothes, some of them would say, you know what, they really find it relaxing, and it is relaxing. Sometimes I do the dishes personally, I find it. So shall we stop the washing machine? Because some
find
people
the dishes relaxing. You're that's just a downright lie.
But you just said that, some people, they enjoy driving, and it's a thing. So my question is that washing machine is the same thing. Some people enjoy washing, because it's a kind of a mindless job, and it's kind of relaxing. It can be chill.
Sure.
So then maybe we should just take all the washing machines away, because some people are enjoying washing clothes by hand.
But why?
Again, as I said, we go back to the same thing. You do the right thing, you don't think about the consequences. The right thing is in the big picture. I think I prefer to have my washing machine.
Sure. That being said, you have a choice. If you want to hand wash your laundry, you can. No one's forcing you to go out and buy a wash machine.
Mm-hmm.
When they put in these self-driving vehicles and stuff, I don't have a choice anymore. They'll be like, no, you can't drive.
Actually, I don't know about that. That I don't know.
Wow. Okay.
They haven't said that. They haven't even allowed them to come into the market yet.
You know damn well that as soon as those come into place, that everyone's going to be like, oh, human error comes into place, and they will not allow you to do that anymore.
If that was the case, they would say that human error, they will not let you wash your own clothes.
It's not the same thing. And you know it, because it's all done by the government's not going to mandate that you have to have a wash machine. The government will mandate because they give you a license to drive.
This is interesting. So you are fighting a fight that is not even existing.
It's coming.
So I'm getting ready for it.
Yeah.
You make your own imaginary thing you start fighting it.
I did. And I get that's funny. But that's my concern, though. And I think it's a valid concern, right? Like I'm not allowed to be concerned about the future.
Well, correct. Correct. But but the thing is that we want to be a little bit more realistic. And I understand what you're saying. And maybe for those things, they say that people who would like to drive, for example, will leave a place to go, like, for example, the racetrack or something.
I don't mean like that.
No, but generally, they might say that there is a place for those people, those weirdos that they want to.
Those people, again, those people, you can't say that. You don't like that.
Oh my God, that makes a lot of noise there. But there's more people that they want to find driving as a hobby. Sure, they may give them an
as a hobby.
And again, I don't know. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. We are talking about one subject, and I'm not talking about the self-driving vehicles. I'm talking about technology in advance.
Yeah,
in general.
And I'm not against the technology and all that stuff. And then going back to the self-driving vehicles and say, like, we're just using truck drivers as an example. Like, what do you do? Like, what do these people do who wanted to do that and I get it, we can't concern ourselves with that because things will kind of work out, but at the same time, in the transition period, something has to happen because those people all of a sudden, okay, you're out of a job and you don't know what to do, and then you lose your self-confidence and motivation because all of a sudden you're not useful anymore, or maybe that's too harsh, not useful anymore, but you don't feel productive anymore. You need to, there has to be something done and some. And again, I'm thinking too much about the future.
No.
Fighting a thing that won't happen. But
I agree with that part of it. Remember this: any change. First of all, improvement. The basic element for improvement is change. So,
right.
And any change is gonna mess something up. Again, as I said earlier, you don't think about. Just a moment, if you mind me. Why does that stop? This is the camera. I don't understand that. But anyways,
technology.
But the basically you just think about that. You do the right thing, and then you worry about the other things afterwards. The right thing is that with technology we advance, and then okay, yes, it's gonna have some hiccups in somewhere else. Then you start focusing how to fix those kind of things. You don't stop the technology just because.
No, I'm not talking about stopping. I agree with you. I don't think you should stop the technology, but I think we should be, as this technology is coming and we know it's coming, we should be thinking of solutions to the possible problems.
That I agree.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I do agree that you're right that the solutions will come once the change happens. Mm-hmm. Because we can't plan out exactly how things will go, and if we allow people to innovate even more, people will find the solutions to those problems.
And it is exactly like when Uber came into the market, and the normal cab drivers, they were kind of against it. I don't know if it's going to work that way. That the concept of having Uber, or that concept is a good concept. Then yes, does it affect other things? Absolutely it does. But we have to think about, okay, how we can deal with the side effects of it to make sure this Uber idea works. So basically you go with the technology, you cannot stop it, and you will be crushed. That's not how it works.
Right.
And instead of just avoiding and not progressing, it's like that we don't want washing machine. We are against washing. The people that they do the laundry, they go and just all of a sudden against washing
sandals in the machine,
something like that.
Well, that was what happened, right? So.
But again, we don't do that. What we do, we say that, okay, this is a good idea, but yes, it's affecting me. Now, how can we fix that one? Then you start thinking appropriately on the right channel. Yes, if it was my job that is going to be going away, I would be concerned. And they would say, yes, that is correct. The washing machine is good. The self-driving vehicle is good. But it's affecting my livelihood, is affecting, lots of things that I have done. Now, what can we do so that I don't get affected? That becomes the next question.
Right.
But it doesn't become, I'm going to stop technology from improvement. Right. Actually, I really want to add this part. I have a friend of mine who is a general contractor and worked in South Africa. And then as a matter, we were talking, and then as we were talking about actually this subject, he said in South Africa, in some parts that the technologically they were not as advanced, he said on a job site, the same size of job site, he said 10 times, but I think he just randomly threw that number. He said that a lot more people work on the same job site, the same size in over there than they do in here. And the only difference is technology, because we have a lot more technology. Everything is, machines that they do the job is a lot more fast and a lot more effective, as a matter of fact. And as a matter of fact, because when you have more people, the management part becomes harder. Because
Right.
actually those people, are they really skilled in the work? No. Often they just learn it from their uncle, or they haven't learned it, or they get a weekend. I don't know. Somebody shows them quickly. But in here, anything you want to do, you have to go, learn, have some sort of a training and, a skill about it. And there is inspector that comes and checks on it. So because of that, the productivity becomes higher. Don't take me wrong. It should be even better than what it is. And we are going to work on that. Hopefully we will get better and better. But the moral of the story is this, that when they don't have it, when the technology is not as advanced over there are a lot more people working, but at the same time, they have a lot more unemployment there. And then what does that mean? It doesn't make sense. But yes, it does in this sense. Over there, you cannot have as a single person to own your own house. It's very, very difficult. But in here, in a household, 1 or 2 people live. But when you're poor, that's not a possibility. So because of that, we have more. Am I making sense? So, for example,
where are we going with this?
Okay. Maybe I went too far, too fast. This is what I'm trying to say, that when technology advances, so productivity becomes more.
Right.
So, for example, because unless people work, and more gets achieved.
Right.
And then because of that, but yet, unemployment rate in those countries is higher, in the countries that they don't have technology.
Okay.
You think that because we have more technology, we should have more unemployment, but we don't.
It's because let's just keep the construction thing still, right? There's more people working on the site, but it's getting done a lot slower. So nothing else gets done. When you're being more productive, you're doing more projects over the same amount of time. So you can have more people doing things simultaneously on different places.
And
right?
there are lots of other things, and I don't want to get too much into details because, again, that's the process. I'm not too worried about the process. I'm more worried about the end result.
But that's why you'd have more people employed in the end, because you actually have more projects going on because you're more productive.
We are more productive. We have a lot more. We work for less amount of time, and we can retire.
Sure.
In Canada, really, in all honesty, we can work for the camera is not on, so cannot. He's shaking his head, but nobody can see that.
Head. No one's retiring around. Well, maybe you.
But actually, if I don't retire, it's just because I love what I do and I want to do it. But I'm again working a bit less than before, and again, that possibility is existing. So again, I'm going back to this thing. No, technology, yes, takes away more jobs, creates less jobs. But yes, takes away jobs. But at the end of the day, it's a very good thing. The same way that we enjoy the technologies of the past, and we have already get accustomed to we have got used to the living with the technology of the past. Technologies that are coming in right now they take away, they will be a shock. But again, when we get used to it, again, it's making life even better. But yes, when the change happens, the change itself is going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt, basically. Now we have to learn how to adjust and accept these changes versus fighting them. That is what I'm trying to say. That if it is the right thing, you do it. You don't worry about the consequences. You don't worry about that, I'm losing jobs. Then you start thinking, that's correct, we are losing jobs. Then what can we do for the livelihood of people who are getting affected by this?
Right. You have to do the right thing, but be responsible.
Correct. Now you want to use that word? Sure. Yeah.
I like that word. It's a good one. Just be responsible with what you're doing, and don't throw the baby out with the bathwater either. Like you have to remember where all this stuff came from, and don't throw out all the old stuff. You still have to remember where things came from as you advance. Again, I think that's important, and it's a non-issue or whatever. I'm just going to throw it in there.
Sure, I'm glad you did,
because blacksmithing's fun.
But at the end of the day, again, technology in the big picture is good. The same way that the technology of the past has made our life better, the technologies of the present that they are coming, they are going to make life better. Are there going to be hiccups? Absolutely. But can you imagine if we would stop because of the hiccups of that that they happened in the past, and then we wouldn't have the technology that you are using. We wouldn't have washing machine. We wouldn't have cars, because something went wrong with that washing machine. Something went wrong with that car of the past, and some people lost their jobs. The machine didn't work. It was not the best thing, but that is how it got started. It got better and better. Now we cannot live without them. And the changes that are happening right now, the same thing happens in another, in the future. So instead of trying to resist and be against it, maybe we should accept it and go with it. However, understand the fact that it's affecting some of us. So how can we think and do things differently for the people who get affected so that they don't get destroyed, during this process? That's that responsibility part of it that you said. I'm using your words so that I make the co-host feel much, much better.
Hey, you just talked about using the right words. We came with one.
That is good. Anyway, again, at the end of the day, again, the question for you is that do you want to work more or achieve more? That is what you're focusing. And that technology at the end of the day, does it take away jobs or not? Really, as I said, just compare the advanced countries versus less advanced countries. By the way, don't forget, I came to Canada because of my jobs, not because of my good looks. Although I should have been because of that. So because they needed physio, there was a shortage, I could come to Canada as an immigrant. So remember, in here we have a shortage of the employment. There is not shortage of employment, a shortage of workers. And this is because the society is more advanced. But at the same time, we work for less number of years in here. We get trained for longer, come to the workforce for a smaller amount, we make a lot more money, and then we retire sooner, and we have a retirement for a long time. But in the less technologically advanced countries, they get into the workforce a lot sooner. They work as long as they have to because they can, because otherwise they can't live. They don't have money, and yet the rate of unemployment rate stays very high. So just in the big picture, that is what happens. I don't want to get into details of it as much, but this is how it works if you just simply Google it and see how it works. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. And again, don't forget, life is simple. We make it complicated. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.